Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Rakal Kadash, double honors to the elders and apostles, the great millstone, Lord teaching this truth with sincerity. And a shout out to Yakim, that's out there on the four corners of the earth proclaiming this truth. Barakah Yahweh, Barakah Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Rakal Kadash, Barakatham. And so, what's going on now is that, of course, you see a lot of media distraction, because we know that Syria is about to regain control over the Idlib province, that this de-escalation zone time period is just about over with, and so that's the last bit, and then they're going to reclaim Syria from these terrorist groups. So to keep everybody distracted with the so-called bullshit elections, which we know it's bullshit, because of course we've seen this shit years ago, 2012 election, you know, between Mitt Romney and Barack Obama, that they did the same thing. So this whole Saudi journalist being killed and shit is like the new Benghazi scam. And so, you know, that's what they're doing, is they're giving you an illusion that, oh, well, Donald J. Trump ain't really saying much about this and all that, you know. And, of course, we know what's going to happen in this so-called election, right? They're going to take back the House and the Senate. The Democrats are going to get it to give you the illusion that there's a difference between the Democrats and the Republicans, when there's no opposition. They already know who's going to do that, but they want to give you the illusion of all that, because I already gave you a spoiler alert. Donald J. Trump is going to be reelected, no doubt, but they're going to give you the illusion that, oh, they got a strong case against Donald J. Trump, just kind of like that whole bullshit Ken Starr exposing Bill Clinton, and then the same thing with the Benghazi scam. You know, but see, now they got to make it bigger, you know, like Benghazi, you know. So that's what they're going to do with the Saudi journalist thing. And the whole thing is, it's all to keep your eyes off of Syria and everything else that's happening. But could be used to bring down the petrodollar. I just, you know, kind of combined a bunch of videos because, you know, there's another channel he was talking about that, you know. So I reshared that in the video, talking about how, you know, they'll purposely bring down the petrodollar to bring in the mark, the RFID chip, which is the big thing that they want to push, you know. And so we come out here and we prophesy of these things to come, because it's not too far now, you know, in our time period, 1,260 days to do this, which is not literally 1,260 days, but as in a time period. There'll be a time period that we're going to come out clothed in sackcloth to prophesy of what's about to happen. This being the year of prophecy, big time, what's going to happen is, you know, we're going to tell you of things. We've been telling you of things that are coming, you know, that the mark is in the right hand or forehead, that's the RFID chip. And, you know, all these other bootleg camps don't even want to touch the subject, but yet want to mock at us. You got IUIC mocking at us, you know, but that's okay, because we can tell them fucking bootleggers from the real Israelites. So I'm reading out Revelation chapter 11, starting verse 3. And I will give power unto my two witnesses, that's the northern and southern kingdom, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth, which is what we're doing, which doesn't mean literal 1,260 days, but it does, however, mean that it's going to be a good time period. These are the two olive trees and two candlesticks standing before the power of the earth. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouths and devoureth their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. They have the power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. And so what's happening is that we're coming back to that power, calling upon the real names of Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai. We're going to receive spiritual power to be able to do these things. We will be able to move mountains. We will be able to command things. And we're in that time period now where things are starting to pick up really quickly. You know, as we know that this valley, Yehoshaphat, which is right there, the Saudi Arabia place, and yet they're bringing up these other things, because just like the Benghazi scandal, you know, now that you have this Saudi journalist that was killed in the consulate in Turkey, And of course there's evidence and all that. Like I said, it's going to be like the new Benghazi scandal. But they're not going to do anything. They're going to act like they're going to prosecute Donald J. Trump because he lied. You know, you'll probably see even trials during the second leg of his presidency if this thing lasts that long. You know, and I'm going to read out of Isaiah chapter 17, because that's what's happening now. Woe to the multitude of many people, which make a noise like the noise of the seas, and to the rushing of nations that make a rushing like the rushing of mighty waters. It's talking about America, Babylon the Great. The nations shall rush like the rushing of many waters, but Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai shall rebuke them. They shall flee far off. It shall be chased as the chaff of the mountains before the wind, and like a rolling thing before the whirlwind. That's talking about when this thermonuclear destruction comes and destroys this place. Because what's happening is that Russia, Magog, is being a shield and a buckler unto these places, and is chasing off the United States. And behold, at evening tide trouble, and before the morning he is not. This is the portion of them that spoil us, and the lot of them that rob us. And that's all that America ever does, is it steals, kills, and destroys every civilization. But now what's happening is these other nations are taking a proverb against Esau, you know, and they're tired of the so-called white man fucking taking over. South Africa is now reclaiming their land from these goddamn fucking Edomites. I'm going to read out of Isaiah chapter 19, verse 1. The burden of Egypt, and we're in modern day Egypt now. That's better known as America, Babylon the Great. Take a good look at the back of your dollar bill. Shows a pyramid, doesn't it, with the all-seeing eye. That's America. The Lord rideth with us upon a swift cloud. That cloud's talking about the chariot, the flying roll. It shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. And that's what you have now. You know, you got your Democrats and Republicans, you got your House, your Senate, and they all are fighting amongst each other. You know, you got turfs, you know, they're all against each other. You got Russia versus America, and they're all Edomites. They're Egyptians fighting Egyptians. And they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. You know, like you just recently had, you know, the big coup d'etat in Ukraine, which the United States tried to reclaim Ukraine, which they put in a puppet government, but then Russia says, oh, nice try. And they kept Crimea because Crimea wanted to go back to Russian Federation to begin with. So, you know, you got all these interceptions going on. And now what's happening is Libya is also wanting Russia's protection. So Russia is now sending them S-400 systems so that way they can't be attacked again. So it's happening, Egyptian against Egyptian. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. And they shall seek to the idols, which, you know, modern day idols are, of course, the Caesar Borgia image, the so-called Jesus. They'll be seeking to Jesus, calling on Jesus, and yet will fail. And the charmers, and them that have familiar spirits, and the wizards. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over him, saith the Lord Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai of hosts. And the waters shall fail from the sea, and the river shall be wasted and dried up. You know, we hear it all the time about, you know, the drought of California, you know, that the rivers are drying up, you know. And so we know that he is smiting this place. And the waters shall fail from the sea, and the river shall be wasted and dried up. And they shall turn the rivers far away, and the books of defense shall be emptied and dried up. The reeds and flags shall wither. And again, you know, that's what's happening is this system is failing. It's failing in every way possible. You know, they can't even pull off that false flag, you know, that they want to because of the fact that every time they try, man, their plans get spoiled. You know, people, the Egyptians are against the Egyptians. You got whistleblowers that are saying, hey, you know, they're about to pull off another false flag even before it happens. And so we know this whole thing with the Saudi journalist being murdered by Saudi Arabia in the Turkey consulate is just the new Benghazi scheme. And of course Donald Trump ain't going to do anything about it because he won't sever his own hand, and the Democrats will try to play their little thing. Give you the illusion that there's a difference between the Democrats and the Republicans, but they all work for one person. That is the Rothschilds, the elites, the Amalekites, and fake-ass Jews. That's who's really running shit. So, of course, the bankers are always going to win, but they're going to give you the illusion that there's a difference between Democrat and Republican. No, there's not. They're the same goddamn fucking Edomites. And pretty much the system is going down, and people call bullshit when they see it. And that's what we do. We call bullshit. You know? That's all Esau knows how to do is bullshit. And his bullshit, it ain't working anymore. So for all that, I hope this has been edifying. And like everything else, come out here and proclaim this truth while you still can. Esau's going down, and this is the time to bask in our glory, because we're being restored back to who we once were, the 12 tribes of Israel. For that, I want to say, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakal Kadash, Barak Hope this has been edifying.